1.76. Oh my god.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. Today I've got a neat little gadget to fit to the TT. So in this little box here I've got a P3 digital gauge, custom gauge. So what this essentially is, it's like a OBD gauge. So basically it will display information from the car's ECU onto this cool little gauge, and it's supposed to fit very neatly. This is specifically for the TT Mark III. It's supposed to fit really neatly into the kind of air vent gap, but as you can see there's quite a lot of wires, so it is going to need a little bit of installation. I think you have to remove a few bits, but yeah, super excited about this. It will allow me to kind of monitor intake temperatures, coolant temperatures. You can do 0 to 60 on here as well, I think, which is going to be pretty interesting. And yeah, it just looks really cool. It looks the part inside the car, so I just thought, yeah, why not, let's grab one and have a little play around with it. So in the box you obviously get the gauge, which has got like a ribbon cable and a kind of almost look like a network cable, which plugs into this box. And basically the way it works is this plugs into your diagnostic port of your car. You kind of thread those wires around the inside and up into the under the dash, and then that plugs into one side of there. So effectively this is obviously doing the work. This is, you know, getting the information from the car and then displaying it on the gauge there. So functions on the gauge, it says obviously there's, you know, these are the basic things it can do. It might do more, it might not, depending on the car, but this is specifically for the TT that I've got, so it should show all this information like boost, air fuel ratio. You can read and clear fault codes as well, which is quite cool. Exhaust gas temperature, vehicle speed, which is good, shift light, battery voltage, always useful, coolant temperature, very useful, acceleration and braking timers, that's good because obviously it's getting the road speed from the ECU, so it should be super accurate. Intake air temperature, throttle position, everything else. So yeah, we'll have a play around and see. I'm going to test it first. So I'm just going to wire this up, stick all the bits in, just plug it into the car and just see what happens. Because there's nothing more annoying like installing it and then find out something don't work. Right, so I'm in the car. That's the OBD connector, which goes to the control box, and then there's the gauge over there by a ribbon cable. So in theory, if I plug this in to the OBD, which is underneath down there, it should just turn on. I can't imagine it will do anything unless the ignition's turned on, because otherwise it's going to flatten the battery, isn't it? But we'll plug it in and see. There you go, it did actually boot up, so it did something then. Right, so it looks like you have to turn the car on. There you go. It's doing something now. Booting up. Okay, I think I had to do something just to kick it into life. I just held both buttons down and it said conf on there. So there's the boost gauge. Let's see that just go up a little bit when I rev it. So what else we got? Coolant. 140 Fahrenheit, so that should be increasing. There you go. Right, so now we know it's at least working. Should be able to install it now. So the first thing we need to do is remove this little air vent, and you're going to need some tools like this, like the kind of little trim removal tools to make that easy, otherwise you're just going to mess something up and damage the trim. So you can use this small trim tool just to prise that off and pop that up. Should be able to get these out. These will just be like clips on the bottom of here. Just be careful to, you know, how you're doing this. Once you get the edges up, you can just sort of pry it out. You see it's got the standard sort of clips on there. So that's that bit done, and then you can thread the wire through there. Apparently there's a little hole. Yeah, it looks like it's that one there. So now you can get the gauge and just fix it into the vent. So leave 3 open, that's what I've been told. The wire actually, it's kind of weird because the wire is just sandwiched. It's a flat cable, but it's kind of just sandwiched on the outside of that. You would have thought they would have made like some little plug and made the wire go through that hole. That would have been better, but anyway, that is what it is. So yeah, I'm going to click that on there and that clicks in. Right, so next up we've got to get this side panel off here, because basically the wire threads through there, but you've got to access this bit under here to I don't know, I think you've got to take this bottom panel off here, which you can only get to if you take this side bit off. These tools really are good. I can't stress, you're never going to get that off without these tools. I mean, you would, but you're going to make a mess of things. Right, now that side panel's off there, I'll just see if I can thread that through there. See where it comes out underneath there. There we go. Just pull that through. Now I've got to get this bottom panel off as well. To be honest with you, I don't actually think you need to remove this bottom bit because you can actually access everything you need to access through there. I'm just going to put this in place now. Actually, what you notice is the ribbon cable kind of tucks in nicely, so you're not going to see it. Once you push that down, you can't see the ribbon cable at all. There you go. You can see it quite nicely there. I'm going to get some better light on there in a minute. Right, so it turns out actually you don't need to take this bottom panel off at all, really. I don't know why they were saying do that, because you can access it all from the side. So it's all like wired up. I'm just going to pop that behind there and basically fix it onto the back of here. To do that, I'm just going to stick a bit of double-sided on the back of here and then stick that behind there, and then that'll stop it rattling. Cables, probably just put a cable tie around these, just, you know, don't bend that ribbon cable, but just stick a cable tie around it all to stop it kind of, you know, sinking back down into the footwell. But yeah, overall, I should be done in a minute. It's a bit of a pain, there's no kind of multi-connector that you could take off and feed through one of these holes in the side, because that would make it even more neat. You wouldn't even see that bit of wire there. But so just tuck that behind there. Right, so I'll just tuck that behind there, and I should be able to just press that on there and get it to just stick. I'll just loop those wires around there so that it keeps that tight, and then just put a little cable tie around there, and that should secure it in. So you can stick the side panel back on now. There we go. Right, so there you go. Look at that. It looks really nice. The only thing that's bothering me a little bit with the door open is this, because look, I might just get something really high power, like sort of double-sided. There's some Gorilla Tape stuff that's amazing. That would probably hold that, because it's not taking a lot to push it down. That would just finish it off, I think. That little gap's just a bit annoying. But you can't see it when it's shut. And it does actually really complement the rest of the car, like, you know, how modern it looks. So yes, fire it up. So the initial little kind of first part of the ignition, you sort of turn it on. It's not actually doing anything now. When you start the car, it should burst into life. You get that like a little... There we go. So what's this on at the moment? AFR, I'm not sure. So you can sort of go, look, 0 to 60. I love it. Boost. So that's the boost there. Look at that. That just looks so cool, doesn't it? Complements all the red and everything in here as well. So you've got a nice little boost gauge in there. Sick. So because this was in Fahrenheit, to get it in Celsius, you can go into the configuration settings, just hold both those buttons down and then scroll through, and then you'll come to, where is it? Yeah, degrees C. So if you do that and then hit that one, it goes degrees Fahrenheit or degrees Celsius, like that. So that's pretty cool. And then you can just hold that. There's some other configuration settings which I'm not going to go into yet, and that will just reset. So it would have been cool to get this gauge before I'd done the intercooler. This is intake air. I'm presuming that's after the intercooler. I think it should be. Right, it's a little bit later now. We're going to go and test out the car and test out the gauge.
Right.
Yeah?
Got piles.
You got piles?
I've got 3 big ones.
Oh God. This started up, so this is intake air temperature I've got on here. And that's showing, so when we started out it was 37 degrees. You probably remember from the other clips when I was installing it. Now that as we're going along, we're sort of airflow's going into the front of the car, and the intake air is obviously cooling down. So I don't know like what effect the intercooler's having really on that, but because I never tried it as standard, but it's quite interesting anyway. See that? We've also got a boost gauge as well. There's the boost. So at the moment we're in vacuum because it's minus, but if we give it some boost,
Jesus Christ.
Right, girlfriend's not in the car anymore. Let's try some 0 to 60s. Needs a bit of launch control as well. Foot on the brake, ESP is off. Oh, 3.78. Oh my God, that's crazy. What? There was a bit of wheel slippage as well there. Let's see if I can do one more better. 3.76. Oh my god. Right guys, that is absolutely crazy. I can't believe that. I mean, I knew it was quick, but that with launch control on is just a whole nother level. And the G meter is saying, I don't know if this is correct because this G meter wasn't enabled from the factory, so I don't know if it's correct, but basically it's saying 1.1, which is ridiculous. That's over a G. If that's doing that on acceleration, I don't know. 1.1. That's mad. Funnily enough, I'm sitting outside a solicitor's office as well. I might need them soon. So just sitting here, I've got the aircon on as well. I've just noticed my intake temperature's gone up to 68 degrees now. That was hovering around 25 when I was doing those tests, so kind of ideal. But yeah, that's pretty high. So when you're not moving, this will just raise up. And obviously having the aircon on as well, you know, you've got the aircon radiator in front of the intercooler, so that's not going to help. Right guys, so some pretty interesting stuff. I'm so glad I fitted that gauge. It's an awesome kind of little add-on to the car. It looks so good as well, aesthetically it's good. The little gap's not bothering me as much now, so I might just leave it, or you know, get a bit of double-sided tape under there and stick it down. But yeah, performance-wise on that 0 to 60, I know there's a little bit of talk about, you know, is it accurate on this particular gauge, because I think it effectively starts timing as soon as you leave that kind of 0 mile an hour, but obviously there could be like a split second there where it doesn't register. I don't know. I tried 3 runs and it was within the same kind of parameters, 3.7 to 3.8, something like that. So, you know, who knows? It's quick, regardless of how you measure it. It's quick and it feels quick. And if that G meter is to be taking anything seriously by, then that's nuts as well. So I mean, this is a TT, a standard TT. If you don't know, this is a standard TT. It's not a TTS, it's not a TTRS, and we're running that sort of performance. It's just mad to me. Basically, it's the same engine as the TTS and the S3, and obviously with the stage 3 mods, it's difficult to tell what has really sort of done the most, because obviously I've done so many things. So I've done a front-mounted intercooler, we've obviously put an airbox, R600 airbox on there, we've done downpipe, we've taken a resonator out like this. It's still got the standard back box on it, but you know, there's a few things in there as well. I've got turbo muffler, delete as well, which actually isn't in the car at the moment, but I've got the elbow that's been installed, the turbo elbow, so that is obviously making a bit of difference there as well. Makes a lot of difference to the sound, that. But yeah, it's just crazy. But also, I forgot to mention the gearbox map that was done with the overall stage 2. That is probably one of the biggest things that has made the difference, I reckon, to those quick acceleration times. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm happy. I'm a happy chappy. Quick car, and the gauge is really cool as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.